take pride in what we do, and we want our quality to be the best it can be.
And I think that that's evident in the fact that we simply don't accept any material that's not hardwood.
No.
Right? Because we know that to be the best. It's certainly not the least expensive. We could certainly cut corners if we wanted to, but that's not what we do, right? Not what we stand for.
We want the best of the log because we want to give them the best material that they can get.
Right. Hi, I'm Lacey.
I'm Charlie.
And this is the Acorn and Leaf Podcast. My name is Lacey Schmidt. I've been with Gastineau officially for going on 6 years now. I guess I've been around it my whole life. Lynn Gastineau is my mother, so I was born and raised in this business. My role here currently is Vice President of Operations. I manage all of the shipments that go out. So when a house starts shipping, all the different parts and pieces that are sent out, I manage that whole process. And I work really closely with Charlie, our mill manager. Tell me, this is actually your second time here at Gastineau Log Homes, right?
It is.
Right. So tell me, when were you here the first time?
From 96 to, I don't remember. I was here 10 years before.
And what was your role then?
I was a stacker. I ran the cutoff saw, forklift, graded. That's about all I did last time. And then I worked at your lumber yard, too.
So let's go back. You were a stacker. What does that mean?
I stack logs at the end of the chain. You measure them, you stack them, and you catch any. Well, I guess you do grade 3 times because the people at the end of the line, if somebody missed something, they grade it there, too.
That's where it's caught. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you said cutoff saw?
Yeah. There you're in charge of cutting off all the bad that the grader marks out and making sure that the ends ain't got no rot and there ain't too big of a check in the end of it. Mm-hmm. And then it goes down to the pre-driller, and you got to make sure it's drilling, splining, and kicking out right. Then I ran the Pindu.
Which is kind of a reverse order of how our machines work, right?
Yes.
Oddly enough. So we forklift operator, and then you said you worked at our lumber yard also?
Yep.
What did you do there?
I pulled orders for, I think Donnie ran it at the time. I was helping him pull orders and get everything ready of your smart match, your pine. Then we did 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x10s, 2x12s, all that then. And then get the doors and everything, windows ready, everything ready for trucks to go out.
And that back then we had our mill and our lumber yard were in 2 different locations.
Yes.
We now combine them into one, but at that point we had 2 different locations for those 2 things. You came back to, when did you start working here?
Again in 22, I think.
All right. You came back as the mill manager and have been rocking and rolling
this is
ever
the
since.
best place I think you can work.
I mean, I would agree. I do not
and
disagree.
you get to do what you like to do. You get to see things. You get to mold wood. You get to see how it can change.
Right? You make all the magic happen.
Yes, I make all the magic happen.
So today, Charlie and I thought we'd talk about some of the things that go on here at the mill, kind of the backside of what happens and how everything is made. And
so we get our cants in.
That's a really a good starting point. So when material comes into us, it's in what's called a cant, right? What size is that?
A raw log is about an 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, or a 6 1/4 by 8 1/4.
Okay, and we take that cant.
Yeah, we'll grade it out. We'll put it in the yard for at least 6 months, so it'll dry, and then we'll run it through the mill and get our logs and our beams and everything else out of it that we need.
A lot of people think that we actually purchase logs, right? Like a full log, and that's not true. We buy these cants.
Yes.
Right, and these cants are what we run our house logs out of, run their beams out of.
Yep, they're already debarked and cut to size. And
so tell me about the grading process. I think that a lot of people, log homes are very different than stick frame homes in that, everything is not, it's Mother Nature made, right? So it's not all exact and perfect and clean. And even, and like everything doesn't look the exact same. So, and part of that is our grading process, right? To grade out
Yes.
bad stuff that really is not truly okay to use, and use only the good stuff. So explain some of that.
So we try to buy the heart of the log. So we want the heart as centered as we can get it. And we don't want no heart shake because that's your log's just going to explode on you. And we prefer no rot. And we don't want cracks at all. Well, most people call them checks.
Checks, right.
But
checks are also okay.
yes, checks are good.
Right.
It's actually not a bad thing.
Right.
As long as it's not a half-inch thick, it's not a bad thing.
Right. You obviously don't want it going through the whole log,
No.
through the heart of the log, anything like that. But a check is fine.
Yes, checks are fine, bug holes are fine, because that all adds character to the log.
Right. Right.
And that's part of the nature of the log.
So in part of my position, I get calls all the time from builders or homeowners who say, I've got this rotten log, or this log looks bad, or any version of that, and it's not that there's anything structurally wrong with the log. It just it's just different character, right?
Yes.
And sometimes those logs will be once you install they get them stacked, or the beams are put in your house and you get them polyed and sanded. Sometimes those are the coolest looking
They are.
logs in the whole house.
And I think the bug holes and knots, and I mean that's the character of the log.
Right.
Without that, I mean it just wouldn't look like a log home to me.
Yeah. So one thing I also have a lot of conversations with people about is the timing of when we run a house.
Well, we'd prefer to get everything ready in 2 weeks before it goes, because that way if we have any issues or any problems, we got plenty of time to solve it or fix it.
But we don't want to run it too long before it ships, right?
No.
It's just going to sit out there and...
It'll just sit there, and it's either going to shrink a little bit, or it's going to crack a little more, or...
get to dry out even more, get even harder to stack. Yeah, so we try to time that. I mean, that timing is, obviously, it's not mission critical. It's not, you can still stack logs if the house has been ran 3-4 months before that, or even further. It's not like it ruins them by any means.
No, it's not going to ruin them.
Just not preferable.
No. It's just easier. It's just easier to do it, within that time frame, because everything goes together perfect. If you wait 6 months or whatever, you're going to have it's still going to go together, but you're just going to have a little issues.
It's neat and clean.
Exactly.
To clarify, we use our mill jargon, right? Not even realizing that we use it. So when we say we run a house, that's means
milling it.
We essentially run our logs by the house.
Yep.
Right. So we don't just have a bunch of logs laying around that are already milled and we pull. We run by the house.
Yeah.
Right.
We run them as they're ordered.
So if any time that we've had when cants come into the yard, they're graded. The guys on the yard, they grade them so that if anything is sent to us that if the heart's not in the center, we don't even use that.
Nope, we won't even run it.
Right. But also Mother Nature doesn't always play by the rules every single time, right? So there are times where even with the heart in the center of a cant, you can still have a check all the way through. Welcome to Mother Nature's fun, right? There are times that happens, and when in those cases, you simply cut it out.
And it's wood. I mean, you really can't judge what it's going to do, because every piece is different. Every kind of wood, it's all different.
Or you get these fun little rebellious pieces that
Yes.
just do whatever they want to do. That's what we, as we're running. So we grade them when they come into the yard, and then before we even run them, right? So we have a Pindu that
Molds them and shapes them.
right. So before they run through that Pindu, are they graded again?
After they run through the Pindu,
Okay.
we grade them before we cut them. So we'll shape them, and then we'll cut out the bat again. So that's where we determine where the final grade is.
Gotcha. Okay. So they're graded twice.
Yes.
One other fun new adventure we've been on recently this past year is we built a brand new building here at the mill.
Oh, yeah.
And we've got a lot of new machines, right, and new equipment to run products that we have always used in our homes, but we're now just milling it ourselves.
Yep.
Right? So I know there's been quite the learning curve on these machines because they're just complex.
Yes, they're very complex.
Yeah.
And they're a total different line of machines than what we're used to. So it's more of a learning as you go kind of thing, and it works pretty good.
What would you say your biggest lesson is?
The
It has been
molder.
so far. Right. What on the molder?
A four-sided shaper is the hardest thing, I think, that you can ever work with, because you got to pressure your heads to a certain amount. You got to set your cutters. Everything's got to be within a 30-second.
My goodness.
Yeah.
And I'll say, you talk to me a lot about this stuff, and it's still Greek to me. All of this stuff is so complicated. Even if I look at the machine and try to pinpoint the parts and pieces, I'm still am lost, because it's just incredibly complicated. And I've never, there's so many words that I'm like, I'm not following.
Yeah, and the molder's got so many working parts at one time. It's just, I don't know, I think it's awesome.
Yep.
I think it's amazing to be able to see one machine do everything you want in one swipe.
Right. It does all the things.
It shapes your wood on all four sides. So instead of shaping it, just top or bottom like most machines, but it'll shape all four. So you can get a tongue and groove on one side, you can get a radius on the other side, and you can get bevels on the other side.
And to be clear, radius is a profile.
Is a profile.
Right? So like a round profile,
Yep,
for example.
It is a round profile for a radius.
Yeah. So we mill our smart match siding,
Yep.
our log siding through there. We do our cypress, our tongue and groove,
And our pine.
cypress and pine. Any of our tongue and groove products are
Yep.
ran through this machine. Do we run our trim through it as well, or no?
Yes.
Okay.
We run our oak KDO through it. Everything that goes on the inside of your house, we pretty much run through that machine.
Mm-hmm. And what does it do if it's not obviously shaping the trim, because that's just a flat four sides.
Yeah.
But what is it doing to that material when you run it through
It's
there?
planing it down and making it a lot smoother than any planer would do.
Gotcha.
Yes, very smooth.
It is really interesting to see how all the different things that you can do with a cant, right? Just just a square log essentially that comes in, and what all it could become.
Oh yeah,
all the different
it can
ways.
become 100 different things.
So let's talk about the process of when we say we run a house, or meaning we're going to mill a log. Take me through kind of all the steps, start to finish, of what that looks like.
Well, it's got to start in your prelims, and then somebody's got to go over the blueprints, and then once they figure it all out, I get the list of how many logs and how many corners.
Right, so
that
the
are
material
on it.
list is
Material
created,
list.
and that gives you quantities of what you need to run
Yes.
for a particular house. Profiles, shapes,
Yep.
corners, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, and then I sit down and figure out, set up. We got to set up the machine for it, which is usually a few hours to do. Make sure everything's sharp, and then we'll load the chains, and we'll start running them down and running them through the Pindu.
And load the chains means
We're putting logs on the chain, cants
on the chains. Okay.
on the chains,
Uh-huh.
and we'll run it through. And as they come out the Pindu, the grader's got to grade it, cut off saw, and then it's got to go through your pre-driller and spliner, and then it goes down, gets kicked out, goes to the stackers, and the stackers stack it on a table. Then the forklift, we take it down, we'll put it in a shed, and that's where it will set until it's ready to be shipped out.
So it goes down the chains, meaning it goes from it was a bunk originally, like
Yep.
a bunk of logs together. Then you only want one at a time as you're going to mill, right? So you take that bunk, you break it apart, and you run it down the chains to get to the Pindu. It molds
It
essentially
molds it and shapes it.
into whatever profile of log and whatever size or beam,
Yep.
right? And then, like you said, it gets graded after it's molded, right?
Yeah, it gets graded and then runs through the cutoff saw.
Okay, the cutoff saw cuts off any bad.
Yep.
Anything is graded out. Gotcha.
Or
And-
what he can see that the grader couldn't see, because he'll be cutting the ends off and he can see further into the log, of
Gotcha.
the heart of the log, than the grader can see.
So then you said the pre-driller and the spliner.
Yeah.
What's that?
It goes down the chain, down the rollers, and it'll go into a spliner. A spliner is a saw blade that comes up and cuts a 1 inch by a 1 inch deep groove towards the front of the log, so you can put your insulation in there to keep the water from coming through, or
Right. That's for butt joints.
for butt joints.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then the pre-drillers, so you can put your log fasteners down and fasten them down to each other.
Right. So pre-drill is just a little bit of an inch or so
Just
in.
an inch.
Right. Just
Just
a
to
start. Right.
Yeah.
For your log screws when you're stacking.
Then the stackers will stack it on tables by sizes. So each bunk will weigh the same, so we can figure out the weights for the trucks and trailers. And
Right.
then it'll go down and get put into the shed where it stays in the dry until it's ready to go.
So how do you organize if I've got a house that has 4, 5, 6 corners that are, let's say they're dovetailed and we've half logs that are ripped down for dovetail corners too, right? If I receive my first shipment and I've got a whole bunch of bunks of logs, how do I identify
We got
what's
bundle
what?
tags on them, but we always stack the rights together and we always stack the lefts together. And then all your half logs we stack together. And then all your half log corners are usually set right on top of your half logs, because you need your corners to start with before you start with your half logs. So
Right. Okay.
everything's usually all together.
If I'm on site, I want to look for the bundle tags. I know sometimes they blow off.
Yes,
right? Because
they
especially
blow
depending on how far they're going. But if I don't have a bundle tag, I just want to look through all my all the bunks of what I have to identify where my corners are, right?
Yeah, and keep in mind the slope always runs outside of the house, so you can kind of look at it and say, hey, that's a left bundle, that's the right bundle.
Sometimes I know there are special length logs, right? So extra long logs that are needed to span a garage door or a big door or big window, something like that.
Those will all be bundled together.
Okay.
So all your long stuff will be bundled together.
Hopefully with a bundle tag also. If they
Yes,
make
with a bundle tag.
Gotcha.
But we try to make it as simple as possible for people.
Right.
And easy. We take pride in what we do, and we want our quality to be the best it can be.
And I think that's evident in the fact that we simply don't accept any material that's not hardwood.
No.
Right. Because we know that to be the best. It's certainly not the least expensive. We could certainly cut corners if we wanted to, but that's not what we do, right? Not what we stand for.
We want the best of the log, because we want to give them the best material that they can get.
Right. And it's important for us to, we have a lot of material that we send out, and a lot of material is delivered to a job site. It can be a bit overwhelming to have. It's where does this all go?
Yes.
Right. So we try to do our best to make it as clear and evident of what is what as possible to make the build go as smooth as possible.
And easy as possible.
Right. Ultimately, building the new building that we did, bringing in the new equipment, we want to be able, just like we have always controlled our quality of our logs, we now have the ability to control the quality of our other tongue and groove products and our other products that we have.
And which it makes it easier because everything's in-house, and we don't have to have it ran and then get it in and then grade through it and then ship it out. We can guarantee our quality 100% now.
It's been quite the learning curve, but
yes,
fun.
It is fun. I will say this job is fun.
Yes.